Good morning, everyone. This is Tuesday, January 31st at Jupyter Dev Meeting. We have a really good crew today. And as usual, we are going off of our meeting notes. Currently, they're in Etherpad. Next week, we will be moving to trying out Dropbox Paper. So look for the link on that. On the project management side, I just mentioned we're testing out different platforms for keeping our meeting notes. I'm also working with team members to coordinate the project management team tutorial. And I just created a doodle poll for that a couple of minutes ago. So the link is in Etherpad. I'll also send an email out a little bit later on. So if you have the time this morning to pull it off the Etherpad, that's fine. Otherwise, you can respond to the email later. Cool, good. Okay, let's move on to the notebook. Grant, Thomas, and Jason.
Right, so I am preparing for a 4.3.2 release that will probably happen this morning. There's only a couple commits in there. The first one being the code mirror patch that fixes the Python f-string syntax bug, but also doesn't break code mirror for Safari. So we actually have to monkey patch code mirror at this point until it's fixed on code mirror side. And then we also have the editable metadata behavior is slightly improved, and I think that's it. So it's just a couple commits, and I'm gonna push that out this morning.
Cool. Thanks, Grant. Any issues you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. So I'm just I'm trying to run the Python tests locally, and I'm getting a bunch of errors that are being caused by JupyterLab extension being installed. And I'm just wondering if anyone else has run into this issue as well.
Could you, if you're muted, I was gonna ask if you could post some output in Gitter for your test failure, but I'm sure Steve was saying something smarter if he unmutes.
No, but basically the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just create an issue. I'll create an issue on Notebook, and then we can discuss there.
Great.
Just an FYI, I'm not seeing it on Jupyter Hub with the extensions, so
okay.
It'll be interesting to see the output.
Yeah, so it's probably just something specific to my local environment.
People, do you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Damian.
Hi. Well, essentially, I add a new point in the notebook there, essentially talking about we have been shipping it with Anaconda a set of extensions, such as MVConda kernel, SLVconda. It was decided that in the next release, Anaconda will not ship that extensions by default. So we have the same Jupyter experience from Anaconda and from the other kind of installations. Still, the extension will be available in the default channel if anyone wants to use it because they fit their use case, but will not enforce that as the default experience or the default Jupyter Notebook experience in Anaconda. There were a lot of issues in the notebook and in other issue trackers about this. It become people was confusing about about these extensions being the default experience, and we actually decided that we need to ship the default experience as we have it from Jupyter itself. Just I want to mention that so you are all aware of that.
Thanks, Damian. So just to confirm, you're saying that Anaconda will not ship with JupyterLab installed by default?
Yeah, essentially that will be an extension, but that will affect the current notebook or the legacy notebook, but will also affect the the Jupyter Lab thing. The thing is, Jupyter Lab right now is just aware of MVConda kernels because MVConda, there is not an MVConda lab extension for Jupyter Lab, but still in the next release, the Jupyter Lab package will not have this MVConda kernel interaction because it will be not provided by default.
Okay.
But I imagine we're still going to ship IPy widgets.
Yeah.
So we still have that stupid meta package.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah.
And when we say next release, Damian, I thought there was a release coming out like today or tomorrow. We're talking about the release after that one or that one?
Maybe this is that one. I need to check the dates for the release because I don't remember.
Okay, cool.
I think it's the current one.
Okay, thanks, Stephen.
All right. Thanks so much, Damian. It's really good information.
Welcome.
Cool. Oh, we got something in the chat. Okay, Matthias's connection is dropping, so he might go away and come back. Looks like IPy widgets has been pretty quiet this week. Oh, sorry, I skipped. Jupyter Lab. So that's it for Notebook. And then we have Jupyter Lab next. Steve and Darian. Like you gotta have a release.
Okay. Yes, we plan to release 0.15 right after this meeting. Everything's in master right now that we want for that. The biggest user-facing change will be if you click on a link in an output area, any rendered output, to include the markdown cell, that points to a local path. It'll try to open that as a widget. So if you click on a link to a local notebook, it'll open as a notebook, a live editor experience in that same Jupyter Lab session. Also, we changed the way configuration was handled. The practical effect of that is that if you've got any Jupyter Lab extensions enabled, they have to be re-enabled under the new system because we were not playing well with the Jupyter Lab config itself. Now we're acting more like just a server extension as opposed to trying to take over the entire config. So we're just adding ourselves to the existing notebook config instead of trying to be the entire config. So we're playing better with the existing notebook configuration now. Other than that, we're just working on the beta release, pushing hard toward that, getting issues fixed. Right now I'm working on the side panel that allows you to edit cell metadata. So I linked to the PR there if anyone is curious to see what that looks like. Mike's nodding his head. He's been involved in that conversation. And some feedback we've gotten on the tooltip and hardening the completer widget that Darian's been working on, making sure that those user experiences are solid. And that's about it. Moving forward.
Great. Darian, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nope, Steve covered it.
Cool. All right. Who's I know Matthias is this light green. Steve, are you the dark green, and Darian the brown?
I turned off the color thing, so I'm not sure.
Okay. All right.
I am the last. I'm the last two things in there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Great. So that looks like it's it. That's it. IPy widgets is, like I said, pretty quiet this week. Unless Sylvan, you had anything you wanted to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Thanks, Sylvan. Next, we have Jupyter Hub. Min and Carol, thanks so much for the tutorial last Friday. That was awesome. I'm working on getting the video processed for that. But, what else is going
on? Hopefully people enjoyed the tutorial and found it useful. Any feedback on future ones would be great. And we're continuing on Jupyter Hub 0.8 stuff, like supporting multiple servers per user, and also pushing forward with HubShare. So things are pretty quiet. or busy, whichever way you want to look at it.
Quiet and busy.
Yes.
Moving along. Great. Thanks a lot. Next, we have Mike, who will be speaking about NB-Convert.
So the only thing that really needs talking about is there are a few PRs about how to make anchor text configurable. That the content of the PRs isn't so much what needs to be talked about. It's rather that they're taking pretty different approaches to the problem, and they reflect an underlying sort of design decision. And I sort of wanted to get feedback from people. So on the one hand, a lot of there aren't really any traitlets associated with filters right now. Any individual filter, which means that all traitlets, if they're associated with the exporters, are format specific. If they were associated with the filters directly, then they could be format agnostic. Unfortunately, because of the way that a lot of the filter code was written and the way that we're passing it around, that can actually be somewhat difficult to implement. We solved that for this one. It's not clear if it'll be as, because we've solved this, that it'll make it easier going forward. But this is introducing sort of traitlets into a new regime. And Thomas was adamantly opposed to it. I was adamantly for it. And so kind of wanted to get other people's feedback about yes, no, traitlets everywhere, nowhere, etc. Also, Matthias helped me out a lot with the PR, so I'm imagining he's also for putting traitlets inside filters themselves.
So what are they? Go ahead, Sylvan.
Can you point to the PR in the Etherpad?
I was in the process of doing that when it came up on me, so thanks. I'll do that right now.
Thanks.
All right, so NB-Convert 522. There's two.
That's only one. There are 3 PRs. That's what I was saying. And I need the second to type them all out.
I just dropped it in the chat too, guys. And gal.
Thanks. I'll have a look.
Who else does this impact besides Sylvan?
I'll probably just chime in because of the traitlets part of it, but I don't think I'm really impacted.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I put all 3 of them in there now. So we don't need to talk about it now. I just wanted to get it on people's radar. I'd like to move forward on it. And if people are okay with having actually configurable filters, we have the machinery for it. We just haven't really used them at all. That's all.
Would be the benefit of them, Mike?
You can have filters that are completely export format independent. Right now, we're not using this particular one to do anything other than HTML export. But since EPUB has HTML export as its sort of backend, if we wanted, but we're not using, we can't use, EPUB is sort of a wrapper around an HTML object, but we're not right now using our HTML converter machinery to accomplish that because of the way that Pandoc works. It works better if we go directly from Markdown. But we might be able to reutilize some of this there. If there are other contexts in which we ever want to add anchor text like this, it would also be useful. But it's also more generally, there aren't any, if anyone wanted to solve this problem, there aren't really any examples in the code of how you would do that right now. So, and this would be a good example of of a fairly straightforward change that can be made and how to do so. So right now you cannot configure something across all of your exporters. You have to configure it specific to every single export format.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. Thanks, though.
there is a question also of where you put the complexity. If someone wants their own configurable filter, the approach that Mike and I came with is slightly more complicated in NB-Convert itself, but make the configurability or the extension more self-contained afterward. So it's how much complexity you put in the project versus how much complexity you ask the user to overwrite when they have to make custom filters.
Though, to be fair, actually using those filters, which I'm imagining is the more common use case, is probably, I mean, it's roughly the same in terms of how difficult it is, but I personally would find it very annoying to have to add, like, if I want something to apply to 3 separate exporters, first of all, that's 3 times the code in our code base, and 3 different configurable options in our configuration files. Anyway, the other stuff, some of the other anchor tag stuff I'm moving forward on. Thomas and I had a good conversation about that, and we think we came up with a way using empty anchors with IDs. So the scrolling should still happen to the right place. If you were to click on the old style crosslink, and but I still need to actually make that happen. In terms of this week, that's all I really wanted to talk about. There's plenty of other stuff on the queue, but we should move on, I guess.
Okay. Are you sure? Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up and for bringing it to folks' attention. I think you'll get some good feedback on that. It's great to make some of these discussions visible, especially when there's a little bit of a debate going on GitHub. So thank you so much, Mike.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Who's next? I kind of feel like an NB convert tutorial coming on in the future.
What? Okay, I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Using it is really easy. Like making it all happen internally is much harder. And so a tutorial of how to use it could take 5 minutes. The other one may take an hour or more.
Okay. Okay. Steve, you have the funniest look on your face right now. Great. Okay.
All day.
What's that?
I just remembered something. I just posted a link in the Jupyter Lab section for an open issue that people who care about partial rendering and scrolling. We had a long discussion in the Jupyter Lab meeting last week, but I forgot to link to it and mention it this time. So if anyone's curious about that, please comment on that issue. I just forgot to mention it. It's in the Etherpad now.
Cool. Perfect. Great. IPython, Matthias. Oh, are you done, Mike?
Hey.
Steve, were you going to say something? Sorry, or was it the same thing? It was...
Me? No, I'm done.
Yeah, you.
Sorry for the confusion.
Moving on.
For you, Mike, if you want.
Okay,
Right.
so my audio is really bad. I hope you're hearing me well. So this weekend I released IPython 5.2.0 and Thomas released 5.2.1 yesterday, today, depending on which time zone you're in. So it's just a bug fix release. Please update. There are a couple of new features. You can find description in the what's new, and there is an announcement on the mailing list. And I've been waiting for a review on the PR with the link in the hackpad. Jedi integration, it has a lot of completion machinery and stable API for now. It's already around 800-ish lines. I don't want to grow it much more because it will become difficult to review. So I would like to have at least feedback on this part so that I can move on. That's about it for what needs to be public or is interesting for now.
All right. Thank you, Matthias. Conferences outreach. Anna, is that you? Are you still here with us? You are. You're on mute.
No, I am. I'm listening in. No, I did.
Okay. Sound is
Can
not
you hear
great.
me?
It's kind of coming in and out.
Yep,
Oh,
she's
okay.
back.
No, that wasn't me.
Okay, so looks like, so in the conferences outreach section, we have PyData Amsterdam, which is April 8th and 9th, PyData London, May 5th to 7th, PyCon Portland's coming up, and for those of you who are able to see our events calendar, I've been updating that our GitHub projects events calendar. It sits at GitHub/Jupyter. It's at the org level. If you click on projects, there should be an events calendar there. So I'm trying to add these as quickly as I can when they come up. So things are starting to kind of fall in place, and we all can see kind of what the year beholds for all of us in terms of conferences. Cool. All right, next. No Jupyter talk. Okay. Services. Pete, Kernel Gateway, Docker Stacks.
So last week, there was a handful of outstanding PRs. Kernel Gateway, thank you. You're all awesome for everyone that reviewed those, and we got the merge. There's one more for updating a help tutorial, one of the example notebooks. That's on me, just to finish it up, and then we should be able to cut a Kernel Gateway release at that point. And I'll submit the changelog updates so they're all there, and that's it.
Thanks, Pete. Zeus. Who's team?
That's me. Sorry. I wanted to communicate on that. We have just released the first version of a C++ implementation of the Jupyter protocol. So the idea is to facilitate the work of kernel authors who want to not write kernel wrappers, but use interpreters as libraries, and all they need to do is inherit from our base interpreter and implement a few methods, and they've got a valid kernel. So this is the work that we've done with Johan Nabil, who works with me here at Bloomberg. And so it's out there, unit testing, documentation, Conda package, everything. So we haven't made an announcement yet, but I'd love to hear some like semi-private feedback on that if anyone's interested. And the next thing we're working on in this direction is making a native clean kernel for the C++ programming language that would not be a wrapper kernel, so it would be using Cling as a library. So please check it out. I provided the link in the Etherpad, Hackpad. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Etherpad. We keep saying Hackpad.
Yeah, sorry.
You know what you mean. Okay, cool. Thank you, Sylvan. Action items. So hey, cool, Ian. Thank you so much. So Ian's been tracking the action items that have come up during the meeting. So let's, before I circle back on them, anyone else here want to share what they've been working on? I know Jason, you joined a little bit late. No, maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. Okay.
Continued working on widgets, but I think Sylvan. I mean, we're working towards a 6x release.
Cool. And anything? Yellow man? Nope. Okay. That looks like a really comfortable sweatshirt. All right. Great. So let me circle back to the action items then. So Grant is having some issues with the notebook tests conflicting with Jupyter Lab. So we'll continue to work through that, and folks can help him with that. Matthias could use some review of his Jedi integration. Mike could use some review of his PR as well. So if you want to weigh in on heuristics for partial rendering of notebooks for performance improvements, you can go to Jupyter Lab issue 1587. And I've got a blue comment here. It may be helpful to flag releases that might be useful for community folks to update if they wish. Do you want to elaborate on that, whoever wrote that? Guy Blue?
Yeah, that was me. I noticed there was a couple times during the call where we mentioned like, oh, it might be good to update to this. For those that are like more the cutting edge users, it might be helpful in some way to say at least these are new each week.
Okay, so maybe next week. Oh, cool. Thanks. So next week we'll have a section for releases this week. That's a really great idea. I like that. Thanks. Okay, folks, that about wraps it up, unless anybody has any final words. Going once, going twice. Okay. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks, folks in the community. We'll catch you next week.